I was in primary 3, I had challenges in my academics, and I was doing so poorly that I knew I needed help. My parents, sensing this need, engaged Mrs. Callas to be my lesson teacher. Mrs. Callas was dark in complexion. She was buxom, and she was always wearing a beautiful smile. She was very hardworking, very diligent, and she took her time to work on my deficiencies. As a result of the work she did on me, my academic performance improved tremendously, and I started topping my class. I remember how appreciative my parents were when they saw my next report card. They were so thrilled and appreciative that they gave her a local hamper of gifts, which included a live goat, some yams, and other items. That will tell you how appreciative they were. Mrs. Callas had to leave Port Harcourt for another state with her family a little while later because her husband, who was an Air Force officer, was transferred to another state. But the sound work which she did on my academic foundation has helped me to set the course for my academic and educational life. When I was young, we were told the story of Eunice. She was widowed at the age of 33. And she had this season where things were very tough for her, and she needed to make a living and take care of her 6 young children. Against the norm in her time, she desired to cultivate and market the palm bunches in her late husband's farm. Unfortunately for her, she was told she couldn't do this because this activity was specifically for men. Women were not allowed to cut palm bunches. But however, in her own desperation, she decided to hire some men to go and cut those palm bunches so that she could sell and take care of her family needs. But she was arrested for this sacrilege, and she was jailed for about 3 days. Interestingly, the story goes on to say that the customary courts then ruled in her favor, allowing her to get hired hands to cut the palm bunches for her. Nyema Onunwor was my grandmother. I have personally been privileged to mentor a lot of young people, directly and also through proxies. In one particular project in which I was involved with, I partnered with Dr. Pamela Moore. She's a development consultant based in the US. She's currently in the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. We selected 100 young people aged between 18 and 35, drawn from the 23 local government areas of Rivers State to participate in a youth leadership initiative. The initiative was to build the capacity of young and aspiring leaders and instill in them the values of social cohesion and selfless service. On the day we inducted them, we challenged them to think of meaningful ways to impact on their communities, to embark on community service projects, and to give us pictures of the outcome. The outcomes from these projects were quite remarkable. We saw young people in action taking steps and excelling in projects like computer training. We had projects like violence-free elections. We had projects like fish farming training, which they did across all the local governments in Rivers State. We also found out from this project that 76 of them, out of the 100 that were selected, 76 of them succeeded in completing this project. Out of these 76, about 60 of them were male, then about 16 were females who completed the project. But the more impressive thing was that over 3,400 people were impacted by the project. In many instances during the course of this project, our young leaders surprised even themselves as they were able to effectively grapple with challenges which they had previously thought they were not able to handle. For instance, one of the participants who wanted to do a computer training project in a community discovered that there was no electricity in the primary school facility he intended to use. So he had to find a way to make that happen. Another participant discovered that mobilizing people to attend her HIV/AIDS awareness campaign was more than just sending out invites. She also later found a resourceful way to invite people for her project. From this experience, we can see that a lot of young people are hesitant to use their potentials to develop themselves and, in extension, develop their communities. This is where mentors are encouraged to come in. Youthfulness is not foolishness. It is time for the world to recognize this fact and act in line with this reality. Most of the young people in this initiative we talked about will not have known what they were capable of doing if the initiators of the project had not encouraged them to do more. So sometimes we need a connection. We need somebody to tell us, somebody to nudge us, somebody to push us to do, to become. As a result of these 76 people taking up the challenge to do something, over 3,400 persons were impacted by that project. Imagine for a moment, if we have more people take up the challenge to be mentors to more young people. Imagine the multiplier effect it will have in our communities when these mentors inspire these young ones to take positive action in our communities. As a result of the diligent work of Mrs. Callas in tutoring me, my own life has been impacted. And by extension, everyone who I've mentored have also followed that impact that Mrs. Palax put in my life. Struggling young women in my community today and in similar places may not know the Rosa Parks of this world or the Malalas or the things they stood for. But with the shining example of Nyema Onunwor, they have a model they can model their lives after. In the same community where a woman was forbidden from cutting palm branches, today we have female entrepreneurs and professionals. In the same community where we had limited access for the girl child to attend school, today we have females who have not only excelled in their field of study, they have also become global pace setters. And a brilliant example is my younger sister, Chisa Echendu, PhD and a radiation oncologist. Young people and women are not disadvantaged, but it is society that has stacked them so. It is time for us to change that narrative. Every human being will pass through a youthful age, and all of us are born of a woman. I know many men may not want to accept this, but we all were in classrooms where the girl child was topping the class. We also know of some girls who were so strong physically that they could beat up some boys of their age. So, and sadly, some of these girls also have grown up and they are also beating their husbands, but they are too ashamed to tell us about it. So you can see in this circumstance, the girls have actually dominated, both intellectually and physically. So what more can we say? In the past, we used to hear that the youth of today is the leader of tomorrow. But I dare say that the youth of today are the leaders now. In the times we live in, young people and women are thriving, are doing very well in societies where they are allowed to thrive and live out the full potentials they have. So, we're encouraged to allow our young people and women to live out our full potential for the benefit of all of us. The stories of these impressive young people and women show that most of them had mentors that were spurring them on. I believe strongly that the strategic development of young people and women will lead to the transformation and development of our communities. It is therefore the responsibility of leaders and all those in power to remove every impediment against industry, against the right to a dignified life through hard work. Some of these impediments are things like social rights issues, limited inheritance rights, limited access to education, limited access to land, and discrimination of all kinds. I therefore propose to leaders, especially to those in traditional authority like myself, that we should key in to these issues and use it for the rapid development of our communities. Young people and women can benefit from carefully planned interventions that can enhance the quality of their lives and by extension, that of our communities. Our communities for a long time shortchanged themselves, not taking advantage of this huge opportunity we have in young people and women. I call for intentional connections between mentors and young people and women in our communities. So much is possible in our communities. What we sow is what we will reap. Indeed, everything and everyone matters. Thank you.